The third in my American Terror series is the Goat Man. As always, the concept behind this is you can use the legend as a springboard for a Call of Cthulhu adventure, or for a story to scare your, or I guess someone else's kids, or whatever. I won't judge. So the Goat Man, like the skunk ape I talked about in the last Terrors video, is reported from several different locations. It's a little more obscure than the skunk ape, and it's not found in as many places. As with the ape, the people who live near a goat man generally think it's the only goat man in existence. So the goat man obviously has horns, usually, and has a more or less goaty look to it. Sometimes it's said to be also part sheep as well as goat, so it's a little like the satyrs of ancient myth, but more animalistic, and it doesn't seem interested in lust or playing pan flutes. It wants murder and mayhem. So the goat man is always described as extremely murderous. Sometimes he carries an axe, and he wants to kill people in his area. Usually it's near a bridge, but not always. This is a picture of Pope Lick Trestle in Kentucky. The Pope Lick Trestle is for trains. It's still in use. Several times, a tourist up on the trestle looking for the goat man has been hit by a train, and he falls to the ground hideously mutilated. Of course, this death could be attributed to the goat man instead of a train. I mean, if you go find a hideously mutilated body on the ground under the trestle, and a train went over an hour ago, you're going to blame the train, not the goat man, right? Then there's the Old Alton Bridge. It's not far from where I live, a little ways north. The story behind this one is if you drive over the bridge at night without headlights, the goat man appears. There's lights in the woods, there's ghostly figures. People have reported being manhandled by the goat man or hit by rocks. This goat man hasn't killed anyone yet, but it's certainly aggressive. The ghost man legends explaining it are all over the place. Some people say it's the ghost of a black man hanged by the KKK. Some say it's a science experiment gone wrong. It just goes to show that no one knows what it is and have made up random stories to explain it. The truth might be something far more sinister. Now, this is a photograph of the Maryland goat man. It has an axe, it chases people, and it clearly is trying to kill them. The Maryland goat man's territory does cover the governor's bridge, but it has a wider range than most goat men. It's been cited over 3 counties. It even shows up in Virginia. This goat man is the one usually said to be a bloodthirsty science experiment, but that's probably because it lives near Washington, D.C., and people think about the government all the time there, but it's probably, again, just an attempt to explain away something that can't be explained. Interestingly, the Governor Bridge is also a crybaby bridge, so the two legends meet together here. If you want to know more, look up this video about crybaby bridges. In general, goat men won't show up if you have your headlights on. I'm not sure if a flashlight keeps them away, though. Perhaps light spooks them, or they just know they can't get at someone in a car. This is a second Texas goat man found on Greer Island in Lake Worth, just west of Fort Worth. That makes 2 goat men in my area of Texas, so maybe I should watch out. Though this goat man is in and near Greer Island, it also appears on the lake shore, so I guess it can swim. And unlike the others, it doesn't have any bridge to hide near. Of course, the Maryland goat man is not particularly associated with the bridge. The bridge is just like in its stomping grounds. The Greer Island goat man is particularly aggressive. In 1969, it leapt onto a car and tried to, I think it was a convertible, and he tried to grab a woman out of the car. There was 2 guys in the car too. They got out, they drove away, and there was a huge gash, like 18 inches long in the car's side. An animal that can put a gash in a car side, especially like a sturdy 60s car, has got to have some strength. Later that year, dozens of people saw it on a cliff gesticulating, and it threw a tire. This is dozens of people, 500 feet. Now, it made a pitiful cry like it was in pain, but it could have just been bleating like a goat or a sheep. Many people have heard its bleating cry, or, something's bleating cry near Greer Island at Fort Worth. There's something else about the goat man. Remember I said that he's not just entirely goat, part sheep? In other words, it's almost as if people can tell it's a humanoid creature mixed with some kind of horned, hooved animal, but they can't tell what exactly, which is in fact what would happen if it was a real thing. It wouldn't be exactly a goat with a human, it would be its own thing with differences. So the goat man's always seen alone, so it can't be a natural animal. There's no native wildlife that you can mistake for the goat man. I mean, it stands erect. It also lives a really long time. The Maryland goat man has been killing people for half a the century. The Lake Worth Goatman was first seen in 1969, pretty spectacularly. That's also more than 50 years ago. It also doesn't seem to resemble anything from other lands. It does look a little like a satyr, but no one today reports satyrs as real. But the Goatman still shows up. What could it be? Heaven knows. I don't think it's just a made-up story because it appears in such widely disparate places independently. Something links these sightings. Is it supernatural? I don't know. I believe in some supernatural things, but there's a lot more fake claims of supernatural than genuine ones. So because I'm a believer, I try to keep skeptical. I don't want to believe in something fake. I also don't blind myself to the possibility by saying there aren't anything that's supernatural because I've, seen ghosts and stuff. I guess I could go up to the old Alton Bridge or Greer Island. They're like 45 minutes from my house and look for the Goatman, but frankly, I'm a little afraid. And there's that worry that there must be something behind it, because if it was just a local legend, there wouldn't be 4 different places that each had one. Surely they'd have come up with different monsters working independently. It can't be something from the collective Jungian subconscious, because Goatmen don't appear elsewhere in the world, unless we count satyrs and fauns from the Mediterranean, but those behave differently. Well, that is a brief summary of the Goatman. Maybe it's a Lovecraft-style satyr. Beware. Also, subscribe, do notifications, and buy my stuff. Thanks.